So this is the second installment of my Culture Shock series of living in Thailand with Culture Shock. Today I'm specifically going to focus on the concept of Greng Jai, which can be loosely translated or described as deferring to another person's feelings, but it's actually kind of more nuanced than that. Living in Thailand, many of my friends practice one form of Eastern religion or another.
She's not a Christian!
If anybody is familiar with Buddhism, then you're familiar with the concept of dukkha. This is crudely translated to pain or suffering, but it doesn't fully encompass the concept by saying that it's pain and suffering. I think of pain and suffering as subsets of dukkha, the way an impressionist painting by Monet is a specific style of art, but so is a photo by Robert Mapplethorpe or a sculpture by Michelangelo. Note to self when Googling Mapplethorpe, just be careful. We experience dukkha in the form of acute physical pain or emotional pain, but we also experience it through forms of pleasure, believe it or not. This wraps us more in our mortal coil, therefore making us more addictive to the concept of living. We cling more because of the pleasure, and therefore we suffer more because of it. Additionally, a general malaise or sense of dissatisfaction can also be dukkha. Words have the power to focus our emotions. It's kind of like auditory priming through the words of the language that we speak. For example, cultures that have specific words for the shades of blue, rather than just saying light blue or dark blue, they have specific words for each. Those cultures actually have a specific and heightened response towards seeing changes in the shades of blue. They react to it differently than English speakers would. In Bill Bryson's book, The Mother Tongue, he mentions that the Inuit tribes of Alaska have 200 different kinds of words for different types of snow, but they don't have one singular word that just means snow. Also, I can't remember the word in Thai right now, but there's a word that can be used to describe certain liquids that you drink or soups that you consume. It doesn't mean savory, it doesn't mean rich, it doesn't mean like thick, it doesn't mean hearty. It's a very specific word for a very specific set of characteristics, but it has no English equivalent. The closest a Thai friend of mine came to the English was greasy, but it doesn't exactly mean greasy. I mean, it would have a very different visceral effect in English if I were to say to somebody, your soup, man, that sure is greasy. To me, the word Greng Jai is kind of similar. Greng Jai is programmed into every Thai person from the earliest moments of their life. It is expressed in different ways, but boils down to a few primary expressions. A Thai friend of mine ties it to Buddhism. She is devoutly Buddhist.
She's not a Christian!
Despite being kind of a wild child, and she insists that Greng Jai has its roots in Buddhism. I don't really recall this being a fact, though. I have read on Buddhism, and I don't see links to it. I do know that you have to practice kindness, but kindness is a bigger word than Greng Jai, and Greng Jai is a bigger word than its English translations of it. Buddhism does put emphasis on intention rather than action. For example, if you lie to somebody, the lie is an action, but it can't be judged on its own until you examine the intention behind the lie. Maybe telling little Susie that her goldfish went up to heaven is a lie, but telling her that might be better than telling her that, the kitten dipped its paws in the fish tank and had a sashimi dinner. The lie might be kinder. But I digress. Greng Jai encompasses many things, but here are some major ways it is expressed. 1. Trying not to embarrass the other person or to disrupt the other person. 2. Being formal with them so as not to disrupt the energy between the two of you. 3. Showing a bit of deference to an elderly person. 4. Avoiding upsetting someone with direct answers or language. 5. Being helpful towards others within reason. A Thai person, and yes, I'm speaking from experience, I have Thai family members, will say that it is basically boiled down to 3 things depending on who you talk to. They'll say that it is 1, trying not to upset another person, 2, a helpful set of actions to assist another person based solely on a feeling of obligation that's social, familial, or to an acquaintance. Or 3, I've also heard it's to show respect to elderly people. On a serious note, and I'm being deadly serious here, if you're in a public place harassing or attacking an old person, you are at very, very real risk of getting your derriere kicked by a mob in Thailand. Thai folks are non-confrontational and slow to anger, but once you've triggered them, you're doomed. Doomed, I tell you. Ask any drunk European tourist in Pattaya's walking street who's crossed the path with the wrong bar girl. His wounds run deep. Ergo, rude behavior towards the elderly in the kingdom is verboten. It's downright taboo. Now, with regards to formality and formal language, in English we can use language to some extent to show formality or to avoid aggressive tones. Though even when we think we're being polite, we can often come off as too direct or rude. So to soften the blow, we resort to grammatical structures that take the focus off the subject of our sentences, i.e. the passive voice or the passive voice verb usage. For example, we will often use passive voice to diffuse the blunt force blow of a statement. There's a difference actually between saying, Frank, you need to take the trash out there, son, and Frank, the trash needs to be taken out. It can be said that Thais don't perceive formality and politeness as insincere the way that we can in the States. A politician who says, I made mistakes in the active voice is more likely to be trusted, and blamed though, than a politician who says, mistakes were made. An American would follow up with, yeah, who made them, buddy? What kind of life you be living, huh? Some ways that we can express Greng Jai when we're in the kingdom right from the go as Westerners. We can do that in some small ways. For example, if a Thai person asks you if you like or approve of something, let's say they're cooking or something that they've done, and you want to and you're going to say no, work your way around to the no. Or you can say, sort of, yeah, I approve it, sort of, I like it, sort of. They will perceive this as a soft, face-saving no, and they'll actually appreciate the effort. Take, for example, if your Thai friend, we'll just call her Mai, asked you, did you like my som tam? Well, you're not going to tell her no. You should not tell her no. It's just bad form. You're a great cook, Mai. Today my stomach was a bit upset and I have to be careful eating spicy food. So I wish I could have eaten more of it. I did sort of enjoy it. Thank you. Yeah, you're really saying no there, aren't you? But you're working your way around to it. And that is appreciated in Thai culture. Now, does Greng Jai lead to white lie dishonesty? My experience is, heck yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It was actually one of the aspects of culture shock I experienced when going through the hostility phase. I started thinking everyone was lying to me. Look, we do this in the States too in language. Big and tall are polite ways of saying fat and lanky. Plus size sugarcoats fat size. Thick fetishizes and apologizes for fatness, right? And yeah, dishonesty is something that you may have to be in a position of having to do from time to time to not put ripples in the water and to practice Greng Jai. For example, you may from time to time be asked to loan money to a person. This is very common in the kingdom. Now, let me get something really clear here. From my experience, a loan in Thailand isn't really a loan. A rose by any other name is a gift, ya heard. But if you want to say no, don't say, hey, why you need it? Aren't you always asking for money? We hardly know each other. That person and others around noticing the conversation will appreciate you saying, I'm in a difficult position today. I have college loans I'm paying off, and my wife or girlfriend has family that needs help with their medical expenses, so I won't be able to help you at this time. See how you work your way around to the no there? Yeah, it's long-winded, and yes, you can often stretch a statement out like mama's meatloaf, but them's the rules for Greng Jai. And of course it had to start raining, so if you hear pitter patter, that's what that is. boy. Anyways, anyone who's spent enough time in the kingdom will come to the realization that Thais are a polite people, but each culture has its own expectations and behaviors for quote-unquote politeness. To illustrate, in America, if you show up 20 minutes late to something, it's seen as rather rude, especially if you don't forewarn the person. Showing up 20 minutes late to a job interview means you ain't getting the spot, right? A Thai person can show up sometimes an hour late to something, though not a job interview, and it's not seen as a slight. But Greng Jai should not be seen as just politeness. Its aims are not exactly the same. Politeness is a social formality, a behavioral contract we kind of agree to follow as a sign of respect towards each other. Greng Jai can be thought of as, politeness adjacent. In future videos, I really need to touch upon politeness and how certain behaviors of Thai people can be seen as remarkably impolite. Example, little things like Thai audiences talking during speeches or playing on their cell phones when someone is giving a speech. That would never happen in a US audience. Or things like how they'll cut you off in lines, like at the 7-Eleven or whatever, or on a road. At any rate, the normative behaviors of the kingdom are such integral parts of a Thai person's life and their personal makeup that following a few of these simple tips will help you navigate the ins and outs of getting along with the locals. Work your way around to saying the no. Try not to say the no when you can. Over-explain certain things. Always be polite to older Thai people, and you're going to get along remarkably better than otherwise. In follow-ups, I will touch on the concepts of face and other aspects that ease your experience towards living in the kingdom. Alright, I'm being very sincere here. If you enjoyed the video, please do me a solid and like and subscribe. It would help me out a great deal. I do appreciate you sticking around for the entire video. Thank you so much, guys.